Hey, welcome back folks. I am Dean from Scenescapeshop. This is your coffee break Thursday. So today I thought we'd do a scene. The scene in particular that I want to do is from The Two Towers, which is the second film of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The end of this film is spectacular. We've got Aragorn sitting outside the Fortress Strong, Helms Deep, which is the last resort. It's never been breached before, and it's a stronghold of men. And Aragorn is sort of waiting for battle to come to them, all the tens of thousands of Uruk-hai on their way. And there's like a lost-looking child, a boy, who's just got a badly made sword. So Aragorn sees the kid and he says, give me your sword. And the child gives Aragorn his sword. The child says to Aragorn, the men say that we will not live out the night. They say that it's hopeless. And Aragorn gives him this look and sort of looks at the sword and swings it wildly. And it looks more powerful in Aragorn's hands. And he sort of looks at it and measures the sword and gets the balance of it and says, this is a good sword. And sort of gives the sword back to the child, who now looks a bit more confident in holding the weapon. And Aragorn kneels next to the child and puts his hand on his shoulder, sort of makes steel his spine, and says, there is always hope. All night long they fight. They fought all night long against tens of thousands of Uruk-hai. The fortress has been breached. People are getting killed, and they're trying to get the women and children out any way they can. And Aragorn convinces King Theoden to ride out with him, not for death and glory, but for Rohan and for their people. So they ride out together. And, you know, there's a stupid number of the enemy outside, and they've got no chance. But Aragorn remembers that 5 days ago, Gandalf told him to look to his coming in 5 days at dawn. Look to the east, and dawn is breaking. Hope is on its way. And Aragorn looks up to the mountain, and on top of the mountain is Gandalf on his horse, Shadowfax, the Lord of all horses, white horse, beautiful. And Gandalf stands on top of the mountain and looks at the carnage below and just says, Theoden King stands alone. And then he's joined by a horse and Eomer. And Eomer says, not alone. And the Rohirrim, the army of horsemen, join Gandalf on top of the mountain. And then Eomer shouts, to the king! And they charge down the mountainside, led by Gandalf, as dawn breaks. Oh, it's beautiful. It's brilliant. It's amazing. It's one of my best cinema experiences of my life. And I'm going to paint it. So all that being said, folks, time to pop that kettle on, make yourself a coffee, stick your feet up, sit back, relax, and enjoy. I know what you're thinking, and the answer to your question is both. Yes, I'm excited to see you. And yes, that is a sword in my pocket. Jesus! Okay, so this picture looks complicated, but it's really not. There's only a few colors that I've used. I started off with a black gesso large brush, just covering the major parts of the picture. Then I used the black gesso to also map out the shadings in the crowds, in both crowds. And now I'm doing what you've seen me do before with the palette knife, just putting on some shading on the mountain area, putting some dark in now. There's quite a lot of dust in this scene, in between the two mountain faces. So I'll just use a dry brush on this part, and just mix that in, blend it in, nice and easy. We've got a little bit of dust coming up from the horses riding through, and I'll fill in the lighter mountain area here, and we'll avoid the beams of light. Yeah, nice easy picture. Next up, we're just going to use some greys and browns. You don't need to be too specific with crowds. Just let your paintbrush dance and create a few shadows, and it'll fully rise into seeing a crowd of people, or a crowd of urukai. And for the light beams, I find titanium white on a dry brush and just keep the light beams straight. So this painting will be on sale on eBay as an original work of art. Prints will also be available on etsy.com/shop/scenescapeshop. You can support me on Patreon. Get this as one of your many free prints. Just head to www.patreon.com/scenescapeshop, where, like I say, you can get free prints every other month and discount all year round, as well as many other benefits. Okay, folks, that's us just about done. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time.